views and everybody. We don't have all these thousands of people fucking following us and all this shit, supposedly. But how come everybody comes and sorts their shit out through us?
Tearing through the haze, kids lost screaming in the system's maze. Lies unfold behind paper-thin walls, stealing hope, ripping dreams, all the calls. Gunning for justice, we won't back down. Fighting for the lost in every broken town. Judges blind, caseworkers turn their eyes. Lift your fist, scream their lies won't paralyze. Families they shatter with the stroke of a pen. Truth buried deep, oh here we go again. Gunner's voice pounding, raising up the fight. Justice ain't a whisper, it's a battle tonight. Gunning for justice, we won't back down. Fighting for the lost in every broken town. Judges blind, caseworkers turn their eyes. Lift your fist, scream their lies won't paralyze. Families they shatter with the stroke of a pen. Truth buried deep, oh here we go again. Gunner's voice pounding, raising up the fight. Justice ain't a whisper, it's a battle tonight. System cracks, red tape wins tight, but the spirit won't break, even in the night. From the ashes, the cry gonna rise up strong. With every heartbeat, it fuels the song. Corruption crawls, spreading like a fire. But passion burns hotter, crawling up higher. The system ain't ready for the storm that's us. One by one, we're breaking their rust.
All right, guys, you asked for it. Here it is again. This is not just the debut, but ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the reckoning.
He calls it the reckoning. Blount County started it. Blount County started it. Kentucky doubled down. Gunner and Sharon are finishing it. Shadows where the black bears roam. They kicked in Gunner's door trying to steal his home. No war and no crime, just badges and a grin. But they forgot one thing, mountain men don't bend. He looked him in the eyes and said, you just signed your fate. You touched my blood, now feel the reckoning's weight. In the Smokies reckoning is here. Sharon stood like stone when Kentucky crossed the line. Took her babies for revenge, thought they'd break her spine. But every tear she cried turned into molten steel. Molten steel. Forged a blade called justice that no court can conceal. From Maryville to Frankfurt, the corrupt began to run. They woke the sleeping giant, and the reckoning begun. Now 1 million parents marched with torches in their hands, from the hollers to the cities, across these stolen lands. Gunner's voice on the podcast was the battle horn blast. Every episode another nail in the empire's casket. He named the day, he named the hour, he named the final stand. He called it the reckoning. Now it's sweeping the land. This is not politics. This is not left. This is not left or right. This is the line in the dirt where parents say, not one more child tonight. Gunner Evers drew it. Sharon Evers holds it. America crosses it together. When the last courthouse falls and the last black robe burns, when the last caseworker flees and the last stolen child returns, we'll raise a monument on the ashes of their throne, carved in Tennessee granite with these words alone. Here died tyranny at the hands of a dad and mom. The reckoning came, 2020 seats the storm. This is the reckoning. Gunner Evers pull it loud. Blount County in ruins, Kentucky in a shroud. CPS is finished. Hear the death knell ring. Every stolen child coming home on angel wings. The reckoning is here. America, no more fear. Gunner, Sharon, your name's forever. The reckoning is now, and it's eternal. The reckoning, hey, hey, the reckoning. The reckoning. Mommy and Daddy are bringing us home. The reckoning. The reckoning. America is free again.
Hey, look. This for every mama got her baby snatched on some bogus shit. For every pops they locked out the crib like he ain't blood. CPS, y'all been eating off pain for too long. We know what you on. But now it's war, this gun and foe. CPS. Kick doors, no warrants, they taking our seeds. Say it's neglect, but they planting they greed. Feds in they pocket, judge got a fee. Run it like a business, adoption spree. Contracts overseas, got partners in France. But shorty from Shy, he ain't get a chance. Mama work 2 jobs, daddy do right, but they still snatch his baby in the middle of the night. Fuck CPS, they ain't saving shit. Just a system full of snakes getting rich off kids. We see through the cap, we done taken the hit. Now it's Suffer Davis popping and we loaded the clip. Gunna got the case, now we in that fight. Taking this to SCOTUS, shining that light. They ruined good homes, now we flipping that script. Time to bring them back, time to empty the clip. They labeled us monsters, called us unfit, but it's they paperwork dirty, all of it forged and flipped. How the fuck they selling babies to a bidder overseas? Then tell the fam you unworthy. Man, please, we got mamas in pain, daddies in tears. They breaking our hearts, been doing it for years. Now we riding with Gunner, and we got the proof. Sworn under oath, now it's time for truth. Trump got the team and the pen in his hand. He said bring them home, now that's the plan. You feds been hiding, but it's over now. We moving like an army, and we ain't bowing down. Fuck CPS, they ain't saving shit. Just a system full of taking the hit. Now it's off of Davis popping and we loaded the clip. Gunna got the case, now we in that fight. Taking this to SCOTUS, shining that light. They ruined good homes, now we flipping that script. Time to bring them back, time to empty the clip. They ain't gods, they ain't law, they just people, corrupt people. And when the people rise, ain't no system safe. The Chi-Town, it's the movement. We gunning for CPS, and we coming heavy. Yeah. Wait.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Gunning for CPS. Let's see who we can piss off today. That's right, folks. I'm your host, Gunner. And as you know, I've been banned from TikTok completely. Facebook Live is gone. And to turn around, it just keeps going and going and going. Why? Because they don't want you to know the truth. They don't want you to know what's going on. If you follow me, there's been mass exposure of tons of evidence coming out of Blount County, Tennessee, evidence against all sorts of people. People are speaking up. They are coming together. Our voices are being heard, and now there's mass investigations going on. There's multiple people that are being talked to. People are coming out of the woodwork to expose the mass corruption that's going on, including with CPS. And in case you guys don't know, yes, we had Jessica Saxon on with us last week, and a lot of exposure. We were, and once again, Facebook Live. We've been, with that stuff there because they don't want this to get out. And yes, Jessica Saxon and myself, with Sharon, actually have a case against. We have the same magistrate and the same judge. And in our particular case, we actually have our case before the appellate court showing the crimes of Tammy Harrington and Jason Bedingfield out of Blount County, Tennessee, for their crimes of due process, rules of evidence, and just violating their oath altogether. But because this wasn't about nothing about protecting children, this was about framing people to turn around and cover for the crimes of CPS throughout the whole thing that was on the record of screaming about constitutional rights of illegal entry, which should have applied a fruit from a poisonous tree doctrine that says this case can no longer go anywhere. But they violated their oath to the Constitution, the rule of law, and everything else. And now it is in full swing. There are criminal charges coming against all actors. And then on top of it, that my wife, as you know, Sharon, did Beauty and Ashes. And I'm going to give you a quick plug on this here. Beauty and Ashes will be back on air, not this Monday, but next Monday, to blow the whistle on everything that's going on, including the things that are going on in Kentucky of illegal to where there's no probable cause. It was 100% retaliation. For filing the federal case. Matter of fact, the case worker CPS worker for the cabinet, as they call it up there in Kentucky, committed perjury by her affidavit by omission of saying, hey, they have a filing to saying that this is going on here and there, and saying, yeah, you know what that filing was on that date? That was our federal case. The filing of our federal case that actually we had to walk in and do a paperwork through. Well, the one thing we always like to do is keep you guys informed on the Constitution and Constitution. And guys, I want you to welcome back once again the CPS Punisher himself, Mr. Darren. Come on out here, buddy. There he is.
Hey,
now,
Mr. Gunner.
We have had a massive release this past week there, buddy, with the CPS Punisher app that is specifically designed AI full program to kick the shit out of CPS from beginning to end.
Yes, it does too.
Tell us a little bit about this promo thing that you've been doing. I know we've been doing a test run and everything with stuff that's going on. I mean, you're working out a few of the bugs. That's the free version obviously has been released at www.thecpspunisher.com. What are some of the things and some of the feedback that you're hearing from this?
Dude, people are psyched, man. People think that it's absolutely amazing. I get so scared when when you hear, well, you get the comments of what is this thing what are they gonna say, and everything's been good. I mean, there's been errors, obviously,
Yeah.
but everybody has said that it's man, it's rocking on. I mean, people are finding out things that they didn't even know existed in their case. People are finding out things and they're gonna find things out that they didn't know because their lawyers are never gonna tell them that this stuff didn't existed. Because this is the stuff that you need to win and beat the courts. You know what I mean? That's what this is.
Now, once this actually gets going, this actually almost pretty much eliminates the use or the need for advocates, if you will, in person. That a lot of these people do, that even some with bad advice, good advice, this and that takes away all of that prejudice or all of that bias and actually just sticks to the cold hard facts, correct?
That's it, man. There's no bullshit. This is it. This is what it is right here. This is the facts. If you screwed up, it's going to tell you screwed up. If they screwed up, it's going to tell you they screwed up. That's it. But it's going to keep everything in line for you. It's going to keep track of everything for you. It's going to remind you of things, like all your court dates coming up. It takes, your phone calls, all that stuff. Like the number one thing that we say is what, Gunner? Don't talk to them.
Record
right?
everything. Don't talk to them if you have.
Right. Email. This thing has email composers on it to respond to their emails. You dump your email into this, and it'll write out the email that should respond to it, ship it off. Then you always have a trail of this stuff. I mean, this stuff, everybody's needed, and it's like I said, it even have, we added another thing to it, an analyzer. So before it had the analyzer of what's going on in your case. Well, now if your lawyers had written out drafts for you, now we have an analyzer of that you put your document in, and then it will analyze what your lawyer wrote out for you and tell you if your lawyer's full of shit or if this is a real deal. I mean, there's so many
accountability. It's accountability program, 100%.
I mean, there's so much perks to this thing, dude. It's crazy. That's just there's just so many perks, man. So many freaking perks. Then everybody needs. We worked hard on it. Like Becca championed up with me and finished with me at the end of it. I've been working on it for 2 years. This AI is smarter and it's better than Westlaw. It puts all of these things to shame. It's smarter than any of these. It has the most up-to-date knowledge that any AI system has when it deals with the CPS and the courts. And here's the cool thing: as people use this, the more people that use it, the smarter this thing will get. Like it's going to grow itself. And I know that everybody's like, "Oh, it's AI, man. Don't screw that, man. They're going to take over time and all this shit." Look, we need to grow this thing against CPS to come up, cover up their stuff. And that's only going to get bigger. So I hope everybody got to, there's always going to be
my understanding too, that also you're looking into it, actually looking into getting it certified to be an ADA compliance tool, that it can actually be used in the courtroom. To where it's going to have federal backing on this thing, to where they say you can't bring stuff in the courtroom, that you can show paperwork to the courts of saying, oh, hell no, where you can turn on a thing of it and it'll list and dictate everything and stuff like that, and actually analyze it right there to be your ADA advocate.
Right. It transcribes for you, and then it explains to you what is going on in the live. You know what I mean? So if you are in a live situation, then it will say, hey, look, this is what's happening. Like it will pull out for you the details. Oh, this is a violation. This is what this means. This is what this is. And, the thing is ADA compliant now. So it's not exciting in the color realm and the appearance, but that is because it's ADA compliant, and it's, you know what I mean? So, I mean, the opening page is nice and all of that stuff, but the app itself, which it doesn't matter. It should be all business anyway, right? Like it's, you don't need all the bells and whistles. It's not a game. It's a real life tool. But that's all ADA compliant. So, people with any sort of disability, sight, sound, all that, will be able to use the app too. But yeah, man, take that thing to court with you. I mean, we're getting it into the mobile thing. We'll get it onto Google Play and everything, once we're working things out. I mean, it's a lot of task, man, to get this thing out there. Everybody can make an app now, make my own. Not like this, dude. Not like this. Nobody's going to recreate.
Well, even programming it to look at, I know I was part of, some of the overview to look at it and kind of tests run through. So, as a matter of fact, it was, hey, let's make sure it has stuff like the MOUs in there, and to look for this and to look for that, and look at places most people don't look, that was based off of personal research. That, hey, did you also check out this? Did you check out policies and procedures? Did you go through the law? Did you compare through this? Did you compare through that? And I think that's one of the big things, and not just within their state codes, policies, procedures, and statutes, but also constitutionally, and to go and say, hey, listen, you have to quit filing this stuff or doing this in the court, and the you're in the wrong court. This isn't the place to file it. I think that's a huge thing too, is just like, this goes to this court. If you've broken a constitutional law, state courts don't have the ability to deal with constitutional issues. You're talking about like a 1983 under constitutional question, to go through all these different things, or you got to be in this one, or you got to be in that one. We've got some people saying, hey, it's not loading. It's getting swamped, man. I mean, guys, we're working the best we can. We're working out. It is just the trial version. It's got a soft launch. I'm sure there's some parameters within it. But as soon as you get some of the backing and stuff like that with Google Play and some of the others, it goes on their platforms and their servers, and gives it a root and gives it that extra speed. Understand, this is a soft launch. I think a lot of people don't understand too, is this is just, hey, let's get together, let's put it in there, let's work out the bugs, because like anything else, you got to go out and kick the tires. We don't, there's a lot of things out there. It's not like, hey, let's do a prototype car and let's just release it and make 20,000 of these things like the auto manufacturers do, and then we'll just catch it up on recalls. I mean, that's not the concept. I don't,
there's a lot of
that's out there.
Right, there's a ton of little things that, because everything was thought of in this, what we thought of anyway. But just like the other day, I was sitting there and someone had called me and they're like, hey, you aware that you can't remove one of your, you can't remove a file once you put it in there. Well, we had forgotten to put a delete file in there. You know what I mean? So not everybody wants that file that they put in there. Maybe they find it updated or whatever, but we didn't have that. But had this person never called, we never thought of it, and that's something that can just, piss you off. And I know it does me. Like, if I can't make something work for me, then I'm just like, screw this. I don't want to do this anymore. This is not that tool that you need to throw away like that. This needs to be used and function, because finally we have an even playing field. We actually have an advantage now. Now, how long they're going to allow us to keep this thing around and or whatever, I don't know. But, for now, man, we're solid. And if you go to the www.thecps Punisher right now, I bet you that you can get on there, and I bet you it'll load for you. But I would hurry up.
Check your network settings too and stuff like that with some of that too.
Right.
It
does work better. It is right now in the phase that it's at. It does work better from a computer than it does the phone. And we're working those quirks out. But so it is, if you use it from a laptop or a tablet or something like that, I think in the tablets it's been working all right too. It's just the phones, some things are squished together, like we're just
right.
Overlap
and stack, just the thing.
Right.
Yeah. But one thing this does is, especially too, it's not just a tool, but as far as constitutionality, because I think a lot of people don't even realize the amount of policies and procedures and or codes and statutes that are on the books for states, especially CPS, that are not even constitutional.
I don't think any of it's constitutional.
No.
Right? This is a voluntary thing, right? This is a voluntary contract. Right. This is so there's that, but they force you to sign, like this. I pretty much the second you say CPS to this thing, it's like unconstitutional, like you could have one of many violations. But the good thing about that is that you said this thing tells you where to go. Don't bother with the courts. Don't go to your district court and start arguing the Constitution. You're wasting your time. Go there, and like I've always said, go use your state's constitution if you're in the district court. Well, this thing will tell you, use the state's constitution here. Don't try to argue, because if you argue the Constitution there, they're going to come out and say you're crazy or there's something else, and they're going to throw you, they'll throw you to the wolves, man. You got to be careful with how you use these terms. Like there's a reason. Listen, Gunner, there's a reason that people go to law school and spend all this time in learning this stuff and the procedures and how to use things and how the courts work and all of this stuff. It's not just so easy as, oh, let me go ahead and tell my story, because that's not what the judges want to hear at all. They want to
Yeah.
see things in law, that the way they work, jurisdictions are proper, so on and so forth. And I'm not saying that none of us don't have all that already, but this thing now will be like, hey, stop thinking that you know what you're doing, because now you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So the frivolous stuff can have an end to it, because this thing is like, nope, doesn't care about this. Like this, that's the thing about AI, right? Like it's hard. It doesn't give a shit about your story. All it cares about is what's right and wrong and what's legal and what's not and all of that stuff. There's no like, oh, I feel bad for
And
you, so this.
I think a lot of things on our show too that we try to educate people on these things. That it's funny, this AI is turning around and telling you the same thing. Like you said, go to your state's constitution. There is a clause in every state's constitution that defers back to the original constitution. But you got to understand, these people are idiots. You assume this, but they assume that you don't know that. Once again, this is a game of, we're going to get you under this, we're going to presume this, we're going to presume that, and a lot of other things. But at least it gives the average person a better comprehension or understanding of the basic, and to understand the law to where we're supposed to be able to understand these
Well,
things
that
and comprehend them.
right, when they put it in that legalese, the Constitution was written very simply, very simple, because it was supposed to be so every man could understand it. There was not supposed to be terms in there that we were like, oh, what's that word and this, that word, and the bar and all that stuff is has added all of this legalese stuff to it to make it make it so that we don't understand what certain terms are. And you do need to have a Black's Law dictionary to understand it, or you don't. This thing now, again, where it's cut and dry, like it doesn't no BS, man. And see this, Tiff sent me this today, a nice Christmas present from Tiff. Thank you, Tiff. It was too late for me to call and thank her. Yeah, nice little constitution that I have, my little pocket constitution. And
there you go.
Yeah, this thing's cool, man. Because this is, at the end of the day, man, this is the document, and we were just talking about this. Like, people don't
well,
understand.
And let's explain that. The Constitution, a lot of people say, well, our freedoms come from the Constitution, and that's not true, because our freedoms actually come from the Declaration
Correct.
of Independence as we the
Rights,
people.
correct.
And the Constitution is actually a contract law that anybody that serves in government, that these are your rules, of your abiding rules, right, whether it's state, local, federal, it doesn't matter. It applies to all of them, saying you cannot cross these lines, you cannot do this stuff. Now, the amount of people I've had to have several conversations with to where they feel that police can come in and say, well, if your children are being harmed or this is that, they have a right to come in and investigate and do this is that without a warrant. That is not true. The concept or the law, even the conceptual part of the law, is that if they have firsthand knowledge, or somebody is to swear upon an affidavit of truth that's saying, I know what's going on there, or I have personally seen firsthand this done, under the penalty of prison, which this whole thing of bullshit mandated reporting is horseshit. Because if you're going to mandate report something, you need to put your signature on the line to say, I'm willing to go to jail for this shit, for what you're getting ready to say, because you're going to disrupt a family or anything else. And it should be taken to this. The mandated reporting, to be honest with you, I'm against mandated reporting if it does not include a sworn signed affidavit.
Yeah.
Let me make that very clear. Anything else, the call in and the suggestive bullshit, is a form of socialism and communism. And that is called, the Chinese actually take it and do it. It's a social credit system. If you don't behave or agree with what other people think or their belief system, they can call in CPS or anything else to make you conform to the state standard. The very fact that the state actually has a standard of anything for raising children is absolutely illegal and unconstitutional, because the state has never birthed a single child.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
So how is somebody becoming an authority as an institution that has never created a life? Is that not against God's law? Is that not against the law of the land, that we can't create laws that God takes and does? Tell me something you're going to tell me I've done right or wrong as far as rearing a child that only God himself can take and do. How can an institution tell me something? The children are not property of the state. Matter of fact, in the state of Tennessee, it specifically says in their constitution, people are not property of the state.
Right.
The very fact that CPS is taking them as property is against their own state's constitution.
Yep.
Well, there's kids that know firsthand knowledge, anything else. And going back to the Fourth Amendment thing, a cop can't. A cop can't this. A cop has a right to knock. And that's it. And back up. They're supposed to back up.
Do you know that cops,
beyond the curtilage and everything else?
Cops have 2 jurisdictions. That's it. You know that? Do you know what they are?
Mm-hmm.
The police department and the town hall. That's the only 2 places that a cop draws jurisdiction until they are called to come to a call. So all this bullshit with them going out and pulling you over, you know, that they have no jurisdiction for that stuff.
Nope.
Because they're only supposed to get jurisdiction when called upon to come and service you.
React. Right. They're a reactionary.
Right. So this is all wrong. Law enforcement. This is all wrong. How they, you know, they come up with the law. Now they become law enforcers. These that used to say to protect and serve. Now it has become law enforcement, which is a joke too, because the state.
Well, you know, funny you said that, because that reminds me of the Transformer movie where that one Transformer Decepticon to enslave, you know, enslave and whatever on the side of the police car, because isn't that so true that they're not out there doing officers of the peace or keeping the peace? And exactly what you said, unless I call you out, you have no right to actively go out there and look. If you happen to be in that area and you happen to see something firsthand, but other than that,
you know, like, I don't even think that. I don't even think that gives them the jurisdiction. I think that the way that it's written is that they have to be called. They have to be brought there,
like the fire department.
Right. You don't see the fire department driving around looking for a fire. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
That's it. You don't. No, there's none of that. You know, you don't see the ambulances out there just riding around waiting for someone to call, doing guesswork.
Well, I think the other thing that people don't understand, that I think is a huge thing that we need to make very, 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 very clear, is that your local sheriff is an elected official by the county. Its first duty, the sheriff and the sheriff's department, and responsibility and obligation is not to the state. It is to the people of that county to protect them 100% against even the state or federal entities that may want to come in and harm the people of the county. The fact that every state is going out there and saying these state agents, actors for CPS, which they're either directly working for the state or a subcontractor of the state, to say that they have more power than your duly elected sheriff and their deputies, or the fact they've coerced them into participating with their crime of saying, well, we're giving the power to investigate things of children and this and that. No, you don't have. The state doesn't have the power to overwrite the power of the vote of the people.
Right.
Never in the history of this country has that ever happened.
No.
Matter of fact, that's a criminal act to actually do so.
Yeah, well, people need.
That's why we elect our president, and we elect, you know, our vice president. You know, the people that go into these things. Now, if somebody comes in and says, we're going to take away powers from the executive branch, such as this, and that. No, the Constitution says keep in your lane. These are powers explicitly given. I think that's even been challenged in our country here lately.
Well,
you know, I mean, you can't go beyond the powers of the people of what we've elected you to do.
Right. What we've said that you can and can't do. And that's once we start messing with this here, dude, once we start messing with this gunner, we start changing it, then you might as well throw it.
Oh, yeah.
These things need not to be changed. They were made perfectly, and it was made for, and people be like, well, it wasn't made for the time. Bullshit. It was made just for the time. It was made to go with the times no matter what. They knew that something like this was going to happen these days. And as a matter of fact, we are all disobeying the Constitution right now because our government is completely rogue and out of freaking sorts, and nobody's doing anything about it. So we are disobeying this Constitution because it clearly states if our government is out of line and it becomes so that it is so powerful that there's nothing that people can do to stop it, then they are to disassemble it. And no one's doing a damn thing.
Remove
every one of us. Everyone.
Replace it.
Right.
And on top of it, listen, the Declaration of Independence actually tells us, which we've covered on this show, it even says once you replace it and then you restore the purity of what it's supposed to be, you're supposed to make other laws and everything else to make sure that never happens
Right.
again.
Yep. Yep.
Ever happens again.
Mhm.
But once again, now see, a lot of people don't understand it, and you and I have talked about this. People don't understand that the Constitution was written as Judeo-Christians, that our founding fathers was based off of the life of David. Now, why? When everybody says, "Wait a minute, what are you talking about, Gunner?" The only person ever in the Bible, against all religious institutions, everything else, hide in a church, do this, do that. None of those people ever were known. Only one person was ever known to be known as a man after his creator's heart, other than David himself. And everybody goes, well, how is that? Because David was what? He was a rapist. He was a murderer. He was an adulterer. He was this, he was that. The most beautiful thing that David ever did was every time he screwed up, he returned himself back to being a righteous man by doing what? Going before and asking for repentance and turning away from, in other words, correcting of those wrong ways and restoring himself back to the place he needed to be. Only person ever known in history to be that person. That's what our Constitution does. Even though we can screw up as a country, it gives us the capability to repent, to realize we screwed up, turn away from it, and say, we did wrong. We want to make sure this never happens again. How do we prevent this? By looking at the methodologies that got us to that point and be honest and address them and say, we're not going to do this again. This is how we even grow as individuals as far as our country. We screw up.
Right.
But you dust yourself off, pick yourself up, figure out what it was that caused it, and make sure those things don't happen again. But once again, we had something in this country that we can't find now, and we wonder why we're in the place we are, is because we don't know what the terms honor, integrity, and respect mean in this country anymore. But I guarantee you it's starting to come back because we're watching the downfall of the family. We're not producing enough. People are not getting married because of the destruction of the family. Why get married? I've got my own son, 19-year-old son. Why? Why should I get married? Why should I even involve myself with another woman when all I see around me is the government wants to steal children, and you're going to deal with, once again, a situation with marriage where people are just constantly either at each other's throat, or the government comes in and then tears your family apart that has nothing to do with you. You know, why do I want to take that chance? I'm better off doing it on my own. And I'm going to be, one, wealthier. Two, I don't have to worry about this, and I don't have to worry about all these other things that people are worried about. But once again, that doesn't replenish Americans. And this is the frame of mind that we are teaching this next generation to do, to where we don't replace Americans with American values. Why? Because we import so many other people that have a belief system that all they do is breed like cockroaches, to where they're having what? 6, 7, 10 children in their belief system and reproducing, even though they don't have any money, or they're deadbeat poor, or they're on a welfare system. Who do you think is going to take over eventually in America and become the majority? Because they're out breeding people, because people are listening to this garbage. And the family unit is not, once again, is not being taken of the highest regard in this country. And you guys, and like I said, the people that do have that particular thought pattern are the biggest ones being targeted by CPS or by the court systems. That's like up in Kentucky, where Sharon's dealing with this. She's got a judge that has no jurisdiction to do any of this shit, and to turn around, not even a resident of Kentucky, to come up and do this and pull and then steal children. But then the first thing this corrupt piece of shit judge does is turns around and says, I hate homeschoolers, and says it on the damn record. How the hell is a judge or anybody sitting in that position of authority over families forcing her belief system against the First Amendment, even sitting on that damn bench? That judge, by the Constitution, says should be what? Removed and charged with treason, brought before a military tribunal or the people. And then actually the old school method, even if you read some of the old laws that are still on the books, especially in places like Kentucky, it says to hang the bastard where? At the town hall. Those are not my words, though. That's what's on the damn books. And it's still not changed. We just heard it. We sent it before the people. We broadcast it. What are we going to do? Go get a damn rope. Now, people say, well, don't advocate for violence. Okay? We're not going to advocate for violence. We're not going to do this and that. But let me tell you something. Violence is the thing that keeps us safe and has peace in this country. If it weren't for the men and women in our military doing what they do to protect us, for us to act as stupid as we do in this country, that should tell you something right there. Now, I get some people don't advocate for violence, and that's fine. That's your opinion. But let me tell you something. If you keep with the whole peace, loving, and hugging trees and everything else, or I'll just pray for you type mentality, you're going to end up in chains. Slavery. And it's happened all throughout history, because history will disagree with you that that works at all. At all. But what are you going to do? You know, what are these people going to do? Because, you know, here's the whole point of it. When are we going to stand for the Constitution? When are we going to say it's had enough? When are we, the people, going to stand up for this Constitution, which says we should stand up for this Constitution, says we should do something about it, says we should take it and do what's on the books and turn around, oh, you're advocating for violence and this and that. Well, you know, bring them on. They've committed treason. You don't want to hear that part to hold them accountable, do you? No, instead we just go on, well, you're threatening people. Well, I'm not threatening anybody. I'm holding them accountable. Did you not hear what came out of the judge's mouth? Did you not know what was on the record? Do you realize there's a recording of it? Do you want to fucking listen to it? That is not just an impeachable offense. It is very clear. If you sit in that seat as a judge or a magistrate and you violate the Constitution, it's very, very, very clear under our laws, under federal laws. You take that role. You don't do the right thing. That's why it's a risky damn job. That's why it's supposed to pay really good to make sure you're doing things. But when you've got to take that money and you've got to make that money off of what? Where are they getting some of their money? Here in Blount County, oh, you want to take and find that stuff out, and especially in Tennessee? Your child support. Part of the administrative fee of child support in the state of Tennessee and several other states goes towards those judges' retirement funds. So they adjudicate off of profit. How is that even fair? There's no impartial. There's nothing but bias if you look at it. You're going before, when you go into a family courtroom, you got a state judge, a state CPS worker, and you have people that represent the state of state's attorneys that come from the state of bar. The state is stacked against you. There is no impartiality when you walk into the courtroom. You don't stand a chance. But people don't want to hear that. And they get away with it. Why? Because they have an army to go with them. It's called the police force. And or they have coerced your sheriff's department into committing crimes with them. Where is this thing? Well, I probably ran it on here, but Darren, what's your thoughts on this? I mean, especially with your mic's off. Lost your mic.
You know what? You said it. You just said it, man. I mean, that's what do you mean? Where's the people? Where's the sheriffs? Where's the sheriffs doing their jobs You know, that little minion that they keep next to them in the courtroom, that's not supposed to be their little buddy, man. That's supposed to be a guy that's in there.
No.
He's supposed to listen to what the judges say. And if there's any way that that's unconstitutional, if it's any way wrong, or if it's anything, he's supposed to intercept that order and deny it to the people, because that's the people's. The sheriff is supposed to be the last line of defense of the people by a tyrannical government, and they have been overrun. And unfortunately, now we're down to us against them. That's it. That's the bottom line here, because where's the outrage about our kids being taken every day? Where's the outrage? Where's all the people flocking to Sharon that just got her kids stolen by a tyrannical judge? Where are they? We got to like rub them to come out and get out. Where's all the people protesting with us? You know, this is the only movement that doesn't have a 1 million person march, for Christ's sakes. I bet you we couldn't even get 1,000 people out there at once. And we're the biggest, how would I say this? We're the biggest group of people that our rights are being just squashed.
And
millions and millions and millions and millions of us have been affected by child protective services in one way or the other. That's not even talking about the family courts and all of that stuff. We're just talking about child protective services. You have 500,000 kids a year that are actually removed from homes. You have over 7 million people last year, 7 million people that were investigated. That's 14 million parents, 7 million children. That's 21 million people a year are being affected by this. But where are they when it comes time to stand up for this shit? They're nowhere to be found. And I know that there's trauma involved. And I know that there's all of this stuff.
There's trauma. But once somebody speaks up, let me tell you something, especially with what's going on here in Blount County, Tennessee, as more people start to speak up, the more people begin to realize and go, hey, that one did me wrong too. That one did me wrong. Or you'll have somebody come up, oh no, this judge particular with this and that. I've seen a lot of things that people reported, because certain groups I've been banned from, even stuff locally. Why? Because they didn't want to hear it about their political heroes here in Blount County. They're crooks. They're crooks. And now stuff's on the federal record that they are crooks, and they're in deep trouble. And now everything's coming around.
Right? We hope.
Yeah, well, and once again, the people are now becoming in. Now the feds are involved. Now it's more than one case. It's more than it's one of this. And now you've got other things involved. Now they're waiting on this. And now there are people saying, well, now what do we do? This is why the next step you guys need to take and be doing, besides doing that stuff, is file your damn criminal complaints with what? Your attorney general's office. If they fail to investigate a crime and you have it on the record of the crimes with the evidence and everything else, I'll bet you most of you, if you've got the guys started putting that stuff in at the attorney general's office, you know what it's going to end up doing? You get so many complaints. As soon as you get 4 complaints in there, they can't have insurance. Yep. They can't operate. You guys don't understand the rules. If you've got no insurance, you can't legally do shit no matter what you call yourself. Why? You can't operate as a business.
Which we know that's what the government does.
Yes. If you start making complaints to the attorney general and filing out just criminal charges, which is what the CPS Punisher app does, will say, you turn around and tell it, give me a list of stuff to turn into the attorney general's office of all the crimes. Boom, it's going to generate a damn document and go, here, turn this in. And you put it, I want to press charges. Right. This is enough to go to the attorney general. And then you make exhibits. Exhibit A, B, C, D. Here's all the stuff you need to print. Here's your audio. Here's your paperwork. Here's this. Here's that. Here's all the evidence. Why? Because then they can take it straight to a grand jury and do what? Mm-hmm. Hold them accountable. Because now you've done their job. And this is the thing about law enforcement. And this is the truth. And even the attorney general's office, they are lazy. But if you do all the work for them, they can't turn their back on it, because what? It's evidence. And as soon as it's entered in on a federal case and it's not been challenged, it becomes what, Darren? Fact.
That's right, Gunnar. Facts of the law. Facts of the law.
It's no longer an if.
No one uses these, man. No one uses the affidavit. That's the problem. Again, it's very simple. It's a very simple thing That can make the difference, because you know why? Because everybody they don't look at the affidavit. You get one, you
No.
send them an affidavit, they throw it out. Bam. If they don't respond to that with a certain amount of time, like you say, it becomes facts of law. But man, the CPS Punisher app has just made everything. It's like the Constitution, man. It's made it so simple for you to do it. You can't not do it.
Yeah. No more excuses.
You know, right. It's on you. It's on you to a certain degree. And I want to go back to that too. Where's what they do to you by taking your child, man, is they destroy you. They know that they crush your soul when they take your kid. I mean, where are the fathers that aren't pissed off at the freaking world that their kids have been stolen from their homes? They're broken too.
Where's the Second Amendment?
Right.
Where's the Second Amendment that they've come into your home? Those are persons secured under the Fourth Amendment. You realize a warrant is needed by an Article 3 judge? Do you realize an Article 4 judge or a child support or that doesn't even have the power to remove something that's in a home?
Mm-hmm.
People go, well, the judge signed an order, a court order, and these dumbass cops and everything else. Do you even know the difference between an Article 3 and Article 4, Article 1 judge, and what powers they have? And they don't know but it's still a judge. There's the ignorance of law enforcement.
Right. Yeah. Well, some of them are appointed, some of them are elected. Well, that's what Article 3s are, appointed or elected. Correct. Right.
Yeah. Well, and Article 1 can only have that power if Congress gives it specifically
to them. Right.
Exclusive to an Article 3. That includes your papers, people. Papers are secure. So when they say, I want medical records, I want this, I want that, I want all these things, and the court says turn them over to the CPS. Judge, you just violate your oath.
Well, here's the other thing now. Do you know that when you're under these investigations from CPS now, somehow they've manipulated it so that HIPAA violations you don't get covered by HIPAA. You don't get covered by HIPAA. So that's ridiculous too. So who let that go through? What senator who did that? Who allowed that to make that?
They can't. It's federal law. States can't overturn federal.
They've done it.
They're not even doing ADA in these things. Do you realize states
don't even know what to do when you call for ADA compliance?
No.
They have no clue.
They don't even know who their compliance officer is.
They think that a fucking wheelchair ramp and a portable, a toilet with a rail on it is ADA compliance. Seriously, that's what they think.
I know. That's what I'm laughing. I'm like, and the guy's over here going, do I need a horn in my fucking ear over here? Huh? Yeah. What you say?
Freaking crazy.
You assume you can see my disability. What about lung conditions?
Yeah.
What about heart conditions? What about IBS?
What about
all these? These are all dyslexia.
Blind people. What about deaf people?
I can't see. I can't hear.
Right. But you're not allowed to bring these recording devices into the courts. You're not allowed to bring these little devices in there that might tape something or do something or else. Bullshit.
Catch you.
You need them.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you denying me my ADA to walk out? That's just like the magistrate in the courtroom when I was challenged.
And it doesn't matter what my ADA is. I don't have to tell you.
No. You're supposed to have it readily available.
Mm-hmm.
To where, anything, like it's sitting there before you go in.
Do you know what it is? Do you know what is sitting at that courthouse? You know what is sitting there? A van that says sheriff on it to take your ass to jail as soon as you're done. They got that there. They got handcuffs. They got orange suits and striped suits and all kinds of different suits. And they got a sheriff van. What the hell is that? Why is the sheriff not there? Why is the sheriff not there with a braille book, a freaking, whatever else the hell he needs?
Interpreter, sure sign language, ASL. Person. Yeah, all that stuff. You can't, let alone to watch people turn around like that one thing that we watched that one time with somebody with Down syndrome that got caught stealing, that the judge found them guilty of this and that. And I think that person's not even competent to stand trial.
Right. They don't even understand what they're being told.
No. I mean, it's disgusting what our legal system has come down to.
Tell them no. When they ask you if you understand what your charges are or whatever, you tell them no. No, you don't. You do not understand them.
I don't get it.
Yep.
I don't understand.
No idea.
No.
That's right. Want to see them get pissed off? Do that. Because they need you to agree. They need you to say that you understand.
And it just fathoms me that it's come this far, that we have slowly let
Do you know if you
entertainment.
challenge jurisdiction, everything's supposed to stop immediately, and a
Yep.
full-on investigation is supposed to go on to see,
Yep.
make sure that all jurisdictions have been covered and they're correct and everything? They don't do that. If they deny you your challenge of jurisdiction, it's supposed to be an automatic. Your shit's over with, game over. They don't
Yep.
do that.
Nope.
That's not how this works. That used to be one of the biggest gimmicks that you could do. Go in there and challenge jurisdiction, because 9 times out of 10 they don't have it anyway.
Nope. Show me that you have jurisdiction. Show or prove that I've lived in this thing. Well, and that was one of the things in Sharon's cases that I think with Kentucky, listening to the recordings, is they assumed, she says, I assume she's lived in this. And the judge says the fucking words on the fucking recording. I assume she's lived inside the county for so much time of this and that. Yeah, I believe, Your Honor. There was no confirmed thing. And the judge should have stopped right there. Once again, crooked ass judge. No. Do you know for sure she's not here just visiting somebody, and she's a full-time resident? Which, wait a minute. Now you've got a challenge for jurisdiction. Why? Because her license is in another state, her car's titled in another state, her insurance is in another state for said vehicle, and oh wait, her voter registration card is in a whole nother state. Has the state met the things to do this, to kidnap the kids? No, but they went right through, and everybody, including the court-appointed attorney they forced on her, agreed to every bit of it, and nobody asked her a damn question.
Right. The UCCJEA states clearly that the jurisdiction lies in the place that the child has spent the last 6 months laying their head. That's it. That's how you prove that jurisdiction. Not that they're visiting somewhere, not that they're here somewhere, not that. So if you have a case that you haven't only been somewhere, or you're visiting, or you just moved there, or whatever, there's no jurisdiction.
Well, and let's look at it this way. If you're a parent, or let's put it as a grandparent, and this is every grandparent out there, and I can tell everybody out there for this and that, I guarantee you've got a room or something for your grandchild to stay in, don't you? You got a place for your grandkid to lay their head with a dresser and all these other things, even if they come stay for a week or they stay for a month. It just depends on your, once again, lifestyle. But once again, because you may want to travel, or you go back and forth and you travel amongst family because your family is spread all over, and you have no obligations to a job, and you homeschool, then you are freely able to travel this country 100% of the time throughout this country, and say, well, my home base is here, but I receive all my mail, my vehicle's done, and this and this and this, all that's here. Even though, and if you don't believe me that that's true, then you better check the laws on people that are RVing across this country for years and years and years, that only have a P.O. box as their residence, because it falls under the same parameter. Somebody that does an RV that travels across the country, or a traveling anything, whether it's an electrician or a framer or iron worker, anybody that travels, oil rig workers, all these things, this and that stay off in these camps, this and that. All I have to do is have a P.O. box to where I can receive my mail. Where I receive my mail and where I'm registered to vote is my residence under the law. If I have moved somewhere and I'm residing now, wait a minute, well, they have to live here for at least so many months, this and that. That's not true. Why? Because of people that do RV and people that work in other places, such as oil rigs and this. I know guys that go off for 6 months out of the year. They're gone and they're off somewhere else, whether in the oil fields out of off of Shreveport, or some of those other different places, are off of Texas. That is still not their residence. It's their temporary residence, or they're there for work, but their home is still back here. Because you can't rewrite the laws, because that's called discrimination. CPS courts don't want to hear about that, do they? Did you just discriminate on me to assume because I'm here for here, and here, I have to? Is that true for somebody that comes here to work, or even Walmart Corporation or any of the others that come here to set up stores for 6 months to a year? Does that mean they're a resident of this state? No, it does not.
Right. You better start giving them their benefits of being a member of that state then, right?
Oh, uh-oh. You kind of hit on something because now you're assuming something. Where do I get my mail? Where do I get
Mhm.
my voter card? Where is this done? Where is this done? Those are things that determine residency. For them to assume that this was a huge thing, especially in a case to where somebody was traveling across the interstate and they took somebody's kids from another state that was passing through. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't pull somebody off on the side of the road to kidnap their kids. They don't belong to that state, nor are they in jurisdiction. They had no reason to do so.
But they're doing it.
But it's being challenged once again. Even Tennessee
Finally.
come up with that thing when it come throughout. I believe it was Alabama. I don't live here. I was just passing through, and you have to respect my state's rights. It's the same thing as I come through in my driver is with licensing and some of the other things. I'm allowed to pass through, but I don't live here. But if you're going to say that that comes down to the rule of law, you're telling me if I visit somebody, well, what if I'm here for 2 weeks, and then I take off and I go to Ohio for 2 weeks or a month, or I go to Tennessee for 2 weeks or a month, or I go over here for this for a month. Did I reside in any of those places? No. But once again, the burden of proof to where these corrupt judges are not holding them accountable of saying, show me the hardcore evidence that they reside here, here, and here. Do they receive mail here? No. So now, like they're doing this here, well, that's okay. We'll just use your dad's address because he's a resident. That's penalizing somebody that doesn't even live there and creating a loophole that doesn't even exist. So wait a minute, I got a family member that lives here, so I'm subject to your laws when I take and I visit? We got a huge problem. A huge problem. But once it comes down to it, exactly, you got to stick to your guns with this, and you got to watch the words you're saying. And they're going to say, well, don't you live with your dad or with your mom, or don't you stay here, here, and here? Yes, my kids rest there, but it's only for here and here till we go on the road and this and that. But here is my place of residence. They're tricking you into, once again, being part of their jurisdiction. The questions they should be asking, which is not, where is your license? Where is your car? Where are you registered to vote? See, those are important things they can't get past, because now that causes a whole nother issue. But let alone the thing with sheriff, that they had no probable cause other than the fact we want to investigate. Since when does CPS have the power or the authority to steal children and kidnap them just to do an investigation that produces nothing? Let alone let's have a pretrial. That was the fun one. Let's do a pretrial. Well, we haven't done forensic interviews, or we haven't got forensic interviews in this, so we're going to give CPS another month. That's called favoritism in the courtroom. That's illegal as hell. And so when the criminal charges drops on Kentucky, they're going to come up with, well, this is just the way we used to do it. And they're going, you're not following anything. She hasn't seen her kids in over 3 months. Where is that in the book? Over what? What crime has she committed? None. Well, we're going to create crimes. We're going to come up with, this is called cash free. This is flat out kidnapping, 100%. And once everything gets going and some of the other paperwork goes in, oh, it's going to hit. And you guys wonder how bad the wreck is. Oh, yeah, it's on, because now they cracked the code. All 50 states are now exposed because of what Tennessee does in the federal case. Because as soon as you cross the state line with one, it opened it up to the rest of the other 48. Because if you can do it in one state, you can do it in another. And if I have to, I'll turn around and I'll find somebody from every state that you took it in. You went from Tennessee to Alabama, or you went here and here. That's not hard to do. Trust me. Matter of fact, I believe Jessica Saxton, she had to deal with, I believe she was in Alabama. Do you think maybe she might be put on the witness stand in a federal case of crossing Tennessee over into Alabama? Oh, wait, it gets even better, because we have even more. We've got you. This is what they're scared of, right now. They say, oh, well, they're not scared. You know what? If anybody else, if they had anything else, you know where I would be? I'd be like Brenda. If you guys watch Bring Back Brenda, Brenda. I'd be like her husband, Chris. They'd have me locked up in some place and throw away the key and frame me for something stupid. Then under freedom of expression, under artwork, and come up with some bullshit thing off of somebody's interpretation. No, that ain't the way it works. And whether you like it or not, it's what the Constitution said. That's why if you listen to the whole thing I say, yes, it's constitutional for me to say, if you break the law and violate your oath, you've committed treason, you are to be brought before a tribunal, and when you are found guilty, yes, you can be fined, but depending on the severity of it, yes, you can be put to death. That's not my words. That's right there in the law. By there's 5 different ways that they can take and kill you for treason. So when you're talking about, well, hey, I'll tell you what. Listen, Jeremy Renner, listen here. I've been following you, and yes, I appreciate it. And I know you started out, you're a teacher somewhere. I believe it's the same person. Yes, it's amazing once you open your eyes and you don't realize what's going on. And then all of a sudden you start looking around and listening to the things we're saying, and you begin to look with your own eyes what's going down. You go, oh my gosh, I can't believe how bad it really is. Yes, be thankful you're in a place that hasn't got the issues we're dealing with, but understand this. Eventually it's going to come to your door, and it's going to come after your kids and those nicer neighborhoods and everything else. You know why? Because there's only so much product left, and they just keep working their way up what? The food chain. They're going after middle-class people like crazy, working class people and the poor, top one. It's a matter of time.
And to answer your question, Jeremy, no crimes. No crimes. They took my kid based on a podcast that I was exposing CPS. That's what my kid was taken. My wife lost her rights because she supported me. There was no crime.
The crimes they tried to do is right now before the appellate court showing that they framed me, trying to say that I abused somebody. Never did. Never got a fair trial. Never had a jury. Matter of fact, the rules of evidence, they didn't even allow me to cross. They didn't even allow my attorney at the time. They wanted to cross-examine the child, which is supposed to happen under Tennessee code, that they didn't even allow. Matter of fact, it's a standard. In other words, it's a thing they're supposed to do, but it's also a due process violation to make sure the child's not being coerced or this done or that done or anything else or all this other stuff. No, the thing is I caught a CPS worker committing several felonies just because of his job title. And they say, just because I work for the state or I work for CPS, I'm able to commit these felony crimes that if it was anybody else, it's called breaking and entering. Yep. It's called searching without a warrant throughout your house. Oh, absolutely, Jeremy. We do our best, man, to get things at yours, especially to realize, especially people, like you that realize, hey, this don't really go on, or I really don't see this, or I'm in a nice neighborhood, or hey, this is going on, or that's going on. And but it's one of those things that, like I say, more people need to wake up. And if people like you, okay, can have your eyes open, that shows that there's hope, that people with common sense and a good education, that now you're seeing it, that once again, we've done that. It's unbelievable that this stuff goes on. And yeah, we've got stuff on file. We've been to the DOJ, the FBI. They're waiting still on more evidence and more stuff to come in, because yeah, when this goes down, this shows my whole state. Matter of fact, our case is against policies and procedures. Our state policy, the policies and procedures, they hand to a handbook to parents. Specifically, it insults them and says, the laws are complicated. Let us explain it. Then over on page 5 and 6, it says, we can enter your home and we can question your children. And it literally says, and there's nothing you can do about it, or your permission is not needed. Well, federal case law and the Constitution says otherwise. Hell no, you cannot. That is a violation of the Fourth Amendment, and talking to people or questioning people on private property is a violation of the Fourth Amendment under seizure. There's established stuff on it. It's stacked so high they can't even get around it. But they prey on the ignorance of people to make sure that they take advantage of them. And it's printed right there in their damn book that they're breaking the law and violating the Constitution to steal children. Because if you follow the law, if somebody commits a crime or a constitutional rights violation, there's a doctrine out there that prevents you from even going forward. Darren, what's the name of that doctrine?
That's the I just said it. The
Fruit.
Oh Jesus! What's that?
Fruit
of the poisonous tree. But that's also damn it. I just had it in my brain. But yeah, the fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine, obviously, but there's another one too. But yeah, they're supposed to stop everything. Everything's supposed to be put down, stop right in place. But they just keep on keeping on, man.
And the problem is that's bothering them right now with all you guys and stuff like that. Here's the thing. We're going to the right places. We're making the noise in all the places they don't want us to. That's what scares them. And we're coming with receipts. There's the problem. Because we caught them. We got them dead nuts and they're fried. I've got emails back and forth between the district attorney here that failed to investigate a crime, that failed to do anything. The sheriff's office that did absolutely nothing. It goes back to a former elected official that got that our local congressman for our state got involved. Now, Tim Burchett, his office is aware of what's going on and everything else that's going on. I know you guys hear some of those out in the news. It's just one of those things that, guys, we're talking to all the right people. We're making so much noise. There's the issue, but it's not just my voice. I want you guys to be very, 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 very clear about this. It's the collective voice, because it's not just me. It's not just Jessica Saxon that has a case here in Blount County. It's not just, it's everybody coming together. But once again, there's a day of reckoning that comes in once you come into the court. And no, it's not just going to be that. It's going to be people going away in handcuffs. You're looking at mass corruption all the way to the head of the state, that it's on their books, which means every court case they've had for over 10 years now has to be overturned. And those children have to come back for a decade. That's what they're scared of, because we got them and it's on the court record. It's filed. And it's very specific of what it is. And it's not just in our state, in Tennessee. It's in all 50 states, the same wording, the same everything else. Matter of fact, there's MOUs and MOSs and everything else that are in there that talk about how the state is telling them how to take and talk about and talk to everybody to gang up on you as part of their policy and procedure.
Yep.
That right away is RICO. Produce that document right there for your state. That's a RICO case. Y'all piled up against me because we're supposed to have separation of powers. Remember we've covered this in class. Separation of powers. Judicial does judicial jobs. Law enforcement, or the FBI and this are supposed to do investigation, but you're not supposed to be doing kind of both. I'm not supposed to be beating the streets. You can't have a judge come out to your house and inventory everything in your house. Remember that video where the judge came out to the person's house and violated their duties? Judge is gone now. Matter of fact, it sued the hell out of him.
Yeah, that's the one that they took him on a field trip, right?
Yeah, over to his house. Judge, you can't do this. You can't. I'm going to make sure everything's done here and there. I'm here to make sure they do their job. You can't do that. Separation of powers. This is why that challenge has gone before the Supreme Court on child support. Separation of powers. They can't adjudicate that benefits them. Oh, it's going into their accounts, guys. They're making a profit off this shit. They make a living. The state administrative law judges are making a living off of illegal. Every bit of what they're doing is illegal, unconstitutional, and it's criminal. That's what's scaring them. And there's too many voices. There's too many people this happened to, that now all those parents that have been silenced for a decade have now got a voice. There's people that have been what's Tiff been doing this for? I mean, Tiff's been
30
going
years. 30 years.
30 years. Fighting this for 30 years. You've got people that have been in this for a long, long time. And it's just gotten worse. But the moment we become silent is the moment they begin to take over. And they hate we're exposing them, because if you expose them, they're going to lose the money. Then they become uninsurable, which means what? You sue the shit out of them, the entire states, no jobs. Because here's the other thing. The state of Tennessee is looking at paying back over a decade worth of Title IV money due to illegal jurisdictional power that gave them the power through CPS with these adjudicatory things, instead of holding CPS accountable. And they have the paperwork. Here's the funny thing. The paperwork is turned in by CPS and presented to every judge. Mm-hmm. In their report. I came into the home. Says it right there. They turn it in when they do this with their reports. They get that full report. I came into the home. They had food. They did this, and all these other things. And I searched their house. They admit to their crime.
Both,
Jeremy, both of them. They will. Here's the thing. They think they have the power of law enforcement to lie. They are state officials. No, they do not. No, they do not. They do not have that power. That power is for law enforcement only for what? Criminal activity, when there's an active criminal investigation. CPS has zero power to arrest anybody. Zero. They are a civil entity, not a criminal. Matter of fact, the biggest thing that they screw up, and if it's ever brought up with some of these criminal charges, it's going to be a huge issue, is that if CPS was the first one on the scene and they showed up to search the house and everything else, of course, those crooked ass lawyers won't do it, because you know what? They work with them to do this shit. And there's evidence of that just stacked to the fucking ceiling on that. But let me tell you something. If they applied fruit from a poisonous tree, did you know about 90% of those charges against real fucking child predators would end up getting thrown out of court? Mm-hmm. This is why it's more profitable. And if you look into Blount County, Tennessee, you'll look into a current thing to where Mr. Dalton, a teacher for almost 20 years, almost, I think, close to 100 kids, bounced around the whole school system. Child predator, convicted, got 6 months probation. Because it's more profitable. And they took away his teaching license after 2 years, but it wasn't until the local people actually had enough petitions and everything else to the school board to suspend his teaching license, but got it for 2 years. So after 6 months, he's off probation. It's wiped clean from his record. And in 2 years, he gets his teaching license back to do it again. Because it's more profitable for these court systems to set child predators free and affect and hurt more families, because it's not just in the prosecutions of those predators. It's the money that CPS and the CAC centers, with all the counseling and the millions and millions and millions of dollars they get off of another child hurt, another family torn apart. And where are they at? Public school systems. It doesn't take you long, even in your own state, to look up something and Google all you want on local school systems of teachers, predatory, sex with teachers. And it's not just males, guys. How many females are making the news lately of having sex with teenage boys? Guys, this is not gender specific. It's not just men. That's over with. That's not true. we're going to have to figure this out. Darren, I see you popped out there, and we're getting ready to wrap up here. Thanks for being on the show, but and hang around there. But guys, we got to do something. Like I said, making a noise is the thing we don't. But like I said, this judicial system is meant to make money. It's a money making machine. They found a way to turn around and continue and let repeat offenders to repeatedly touch children and get them back at children, and it's once again, it's off the record, it's gone, everything else. Move to another state, do another thing, apply for a teaching license somewhere else. Well, my license was suspended for something, and they could write anything on that to once again to where it just covers it all up. It's a covered up system. Did law enforcement do anything? Yeah, just make sure that's yeah, the recent one about the camel toe teeth. Yeah. Darren, let me know where that video's at. Cause I'll look under that if it's under my folder. Sorry guys, we're work out things under, graphics. I don't have it under my, videos here, so I don't know where that video's at. But yeah, for the app, but guys, the more notes we make about this, you guys have got to take and come together on this stuff and quit and start being loud, getting people in your own county, getting people in your own city, getting your people in your own town, come together, find some common ground, set aside your differences and everything else and fight together, because it's about the children. And this has got to stop, because this is, like I said, this is a money making scheme. This is worse than a pyramid scheme. This is a catch and release program. We're going to take it, catch it, as long as you're buddies with us and you do this and you do that and you're in on all these things. This is why they hate homeschoolers so much, because you take and you teach your kids more than anything else against that. Jeremy, we're actually going on 3 years since about it began, about 3 years ago, 2022 of July, when they broke into the house, August, July. And we've been going through this, didn't get any justice through here. Had both the magistrate and the judge commit the same criminal activity to cover up for CPS. And matter of fact, the magistrate in the first one, that was under Jason Bedingfield, actually said it on the record, we don't deal with constitutional issues in this courtroom, which automatically made it an unconstitutional courtroom, and still proceeded to go on. Yeah, about 3.5 years. It's disgusting, and the thing is we're not the only one. Where this is not an isolated case. This is happening all across the country. This is why the only solution for CPS is pure abolishment. Why? Because they should never existed. And like I said, they're fearing coming into the courtroom, because once again, we will not settle out of court. We're going to go to court, and we're going to put things on the record, and we're going to have a chance to ask some questions to some very important people, and hold them accountable and put them on the record, and understand this is a 1983 case. So it's in their official capacity. So that whole thing of, well, I'm not going to answer this. No. This was your job. You have to answer the question. I can compel you to do it. There's the problem. And that's what they don't understand, that I understand. Well, hopefully if they watch the show, they're going to understand. I'm going to compel you. I'm going to put you on the damn spot and tell you, you better answer these damn questions, because you must. And it has nothing to do with anything else. If you get caught up in a crime or anything else, it's right. Some of the stuff you don't have to. Why? Because I got it in print. I got you. I got you dead to rights. And that's what scares people. And that's what's different from about what we have going on over here on the Breaking News Network is, once again, we're for abolishment. We don't want remodeling and this and that. And here's the theory of, well, you're going to take and have the children and they're going to be vulnerable and all this. No. Goes back to where it should be. If there's a true criminal act, then it will meet the criminal standard, and you will deal with the criminal courts as you're supposed to. Here's the problem. Family courts are playing and acting as they did in my case, and other cases, holding criminal courts in a civil courtroom and not meeting the standard, especially without a jury or the rules of evidence or just about anything. In other words, they thought they got away with murder, but I would never, I can't let down. They picked a fight with the wrong person, because to my last damn breath, I will rip you apart. And I'm not that guy. I am not the one to roll over. I'm not the one to turn around and do this. And at the same time, I'm not some dumb backwood Hicks motherfucker or somebody else you assume that I am. There's your first problem. You assumed something when you came after me, and your college education of the CPS casework and all that. Well, I have a master's. I have this. That don't mean shit, because I live in the real world where it's called cause and effect, and I've got my master's too. I'm a master electrician. I hold a couple other masters as well, but I guarantee you, my shit stands up over the time, the test of time, and it meets those standards, and understanding those codes and everything else that we have to go by, the NEC or the National Electric Code. Those are guidelines. I still have to build it, create it, and everything else, but it has to match those standards. Doesn't mean the work in between. You ain't got a clue, and you laughed. But you ain't going to laugh when you're sitting in prison for committing perjury and everything else, and all your other friends and everything else, because understand this, there's one thing that you can count on. I don't have to get somebody or anything else, and like I said, a long prison sentence or all this other stuff, this and that, because all you have to do is spend a year in jail. And our prison system has its own form of justice. They'll take care of everything that needs to be taken care of that is not taken care of on the outside. It's just the way it happens. It's just the rules of the jungle. This is the rules. This is what you wanted to play in. This is what you wanted to throw me into and actually try and pin me on some shit and stuff like that. Well, guess what? Now the tables are turning. Guess who's going to the prison? It's going to be all y'all. And it ain't going to be no joke. Now what are you going to do? Because now you're going to sweat. Now you ain't going to have a good night's sleep. Why? Because you're going to turn around and you're going to go, ugh. And then what's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. This is what I'm going to do.
I'm going to pull the whole thing down. I'm going to bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's going to be biblical.
I made you that promise, didn't I? When I came after you, and I'm going to hold true to it. Why? Because there's something called honor, integrity, and respect over in my world that you don't have, because you're a slimy piece of shit. And your day is coming, and you will be held accountable. But I will bring this whole thing down if it's the last thing I do. And like I said, it's going to get momentum. And by the time we have everything scheduled with the federal case, I guarantee you we're going to be out there on every channel, and we're going to let you guys know. We're going to let you know, because we want you there when we have our federal case. And we expect over 1 million people. Matter of fact, I have got presidents of clubs, motorcycle clubs, and everything else from across this country that are aware of what's going down. When that goes down, oh, I got people that has my back. See, you don't even understand the power of the people yet, but you're about to. You're about to. Guys, thanks for watching. And catch us again next week. And like I said, we got one more show, I believe, one more show before, which is the 14th, because we get our Facebook Live back, and we'll expect those numbers to go way up. Because right now we've been hurting with some of our numbers, because they want to keep us on, because they don't want people to know what's actually going on. But guys, don't forget, not this Monday, but next Monday, Beauty and Ashes will be back, rising from the ashes, to bring you hope, to give you, to understand some suffering and cry with you and everything else, with everything that's been going on and going through things. Once again, she had to step away with what's going on, but guess what? Now's the time. We're going to war, boys and girls. It's over with. So, guys, we'll see you next week. We're going to close you out. Here is the CPS Punisher app. Go check it out at www.cpspunisher.com. Check out the free version. Help us out as we get through the bugs and everything else through there. The paid for version and unlocking all the other little secrets that comes with it is coming very soon. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you again next week.
They said don't fight the system. They said stay quiet.
They were wrong. Lock in. We are exposing what so many have failed to. We are gonna show you what bar attorneys have hidden from all of us. Hundreds of thousands of children and twice that of parents have been lied to and walked down the road of termination. It's the death penalty. We're all of the protesters, the ones who fight for the rights of prisoners, dogs, illegal immigrants. Why aren't you coming to the aid of our children and families? Right here in America, every day a child per minute is kidnapped. And no one cares. We fight alone until today. CPS punishers mount up. Here comes
The CPS Punisher.
anonymous tip, another lie from one of them. No warrant, no proof, just a badge and a grin. Stealing kids like trophies, thinking they'll win. Mama crying on the porch, daddy in the cage. System wrote the script, but the CPS Punisher just flipped the page. The educator they banned, I see every violation, every forged line, every ex-part hearing, every stolen time. One tap of the app and the truth ignites. Welcome to the CPS Punisher, now we can fight. CPS and the courts have lied to us all.
The courts will not disgrace the family.
CPS Punisher, here to avoid the chains and expose the game.
CPS Punisher,
The educator they never wanted you to find.
unearths.
One tap and their empire cracks. We rise, we take our kids back. The app is called the CPS Punisher. I'm the cape in the shadows, the skull in the night, the binder full of secrets and weapons you all need. Ab initio, watch me void that lie. Fourth Amendment armor, watch the tyrants cry. Falsified drug test gone in a flash. I see Tevio, warrior, due process king. Every parent's hero when the hotline rings. I call it justice. Download the truth, now the system busts us. From the courtroom to the streets, hear the battle cry. The CPS punishers arrive. Kiss your bar asses goodbye. They tried to silence us, now we're the loudest voice in the room.
CPS Punisher,
Here to avoid the chains and expose the game.
CPS Punisher,
The educator they never wanted you to find.
unearths.
The children never leave again. Families rise, we never look back. We now use the CPS Punisher. This ain't revenge, this is reunification. This ain't rage, this is resurrection. Open the app, step into the fight. You ready?
CPS Punisher,
The app you need when they took your kid.
CPS Punisher,
The truth they hid, now the truth gets lit.
unearths.
Download the power, take back the throne.
Punisher,
You're never alone. CPS Punisher, the educator they never wanted you to find. Void complete, family restored. The bar is finished, the Constitution will prevail. Judges do what's right. Treason is your penalty.
CPS Punisher.
Here comes the CPS Punisher.
Cries in the night, tearing through the haze. Kids lost screaming in the system's maze. Lies unfold behind paper-thin walls. Stealing hope, ripping dreams, all the calls. your face.